The club pulsed with neon colors, pounding bass, and laughter echoing across the room. I honestly believed that coming here with my wife might help us reconnect, maybe remind us of the version of us we used to be. She had on that red dress I bought her for our last anniversary, back when everything still felt genuine. She leaned in, pressed a soft kiss against my cheek, and said, "I'm going to grab a drink." I nodded, thinking it was nothing. But then I watched her walk right past the bar and head straight toward him. Her co-worker, the one she always insisted was just a friend. He was already waiting for her, holding 2 drinks and flashing a smile like he had some claim over her. And then she did something that carved itself into my memory. She let him take her hand, let him guide her to the dance floor. And the smile she gave him, it was the exact smile she used to give me when we first fell in love. Not shy, not friendly. A smile full of ease, familiarity, and betrayal. I stood there, completely still. The music kept booming, people kept laughing, glasses kept clinking, but something inside me went completely quiet. I watched her move with him, her arms looped around his neck, his hands settled confidently at her waist. She tossed her head back, laughing at something he whispered, brushing her hair off her shoulder the same way she always did when she wanted someone to notice her. And people did notice. Some glanced at me, then at her, then quickly looked away like they'd witnessed something they weren't supposed to see. My friend lingered by the table, unsure whether to tell me to leave, to confront her, or to just pretend none of this was happening. But I didn't move. I let the truth sink in, not the explosive kind, but the slow-burning kind that scorches everything as it settles. I didn't blow up or shout. Instead, I went back to our table, sat down, and pulled out my phone. I'd had everything prepared for weeks. Divorce papers, bank adjustments, property changes. Documents you only create when your heart has already accepted the ending long before your mind does. My thumb hovered for a moment, but when I looked up and saw her spinning under the lights in another man's arms, something sharper than pain hit me, clarity. I pressed send. In that second, every shared password was changed. Every card tied to her name was shut off. The car she drove was legally transferred back to me. The house mine alone again. She had no idea yet, but everything she believed she still owned was no longer hers. By midnight, I stepped onto the dance floor. The music kept going, but conversations around us died instantly. She noticed me approaching, and for the first time all night, her smile disappeared. I didn't yell. I didn't break. I simply took the DJ's mic and spoke loud enough for the entire club to hear. To my wife, check your email. Since you clearly want a different life, I'm giving you the freedom to have it. Everything you thought was yours belonged to me, and I've taken it back. A heavy silence fell over the room. She froze, eyes wide, lips trembling. Her dance partner backed away as if he'd touched something burning. People stared, some shocked, some whispering, some quietly impressed that I hadn't fallen apart. She chased after me out of the club, her heels clattering frantically against the pavement. "Please wait, let me explain," she cried, grabbing my arm, her voice trembling with a panic she didn't feel an hour earlier. I turned to her, not angry, just tired. "Explain what?" I asked quietly. "The dancing? The lies? Or the part where you forgot I existed while I stood 10 feet away?" She broke down harder, insisting it meant nothing, that she got caught up in the moment. I shook my head. "No," I said softly. "You chose him on that dance floor. I'm choosing myself right here." She kept begging, asking if we could talk, if we could fix us, but deep inside, something in me had already unclenched. Love can survive distance, arguments, even mistakes. But it cannot survive disrespect. I gently removed her hand from my arm and whispered, "You didn't just break a promise, you broke us." She stood there in the cold night air, tears running down her cheeks as I walked to my car. I never looked back. Driving home, I expected to feel shattered. But instead, there was only quiet, an empty kind of peace, like I'd finally stopped clinging to something that had already slipped away long ago. When I reached home, I dropped her key on the table, sat on the couch, and simply breathed. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't waiting for her to return, or rehearsing the next apology she would give. I was thinking about myself for once. And that night, I realized something important. Walking away isn't always the hardest part. Staying with someone who doesn't value you is. I didn't lose a wife that night. I let go of someone who pretended to love me while giving her attention to someone else.